About 2 years ago, game development was taking over YouTube by storm, and I began to wonder if it was possible for me to create my own game. One Google search later, I discovered the limitless potential of Unity and its unlimited creativity. After watching some tutorials, I set out to document the creation of my very own game. However, it was a bad idea. After 6 months of work, a 34-second clip was all I had to show. There was a penguin, a robot, and some less than fun mechanics. I mean, the supposedly fun abilities like this blast wave didn't even function. And since I was so inexperienced, I fell into the endless void of tutorials with no increased progress.
What you see on the screen now is what we're going to be making through this mini-series.
Game engine for building 2D and 3D experiences, made famous for
Brand new game
democratizing
development.
the
Fascinated with the
challenge
idea
of
of
game
making your own
development. It
indie
was
games just
created
like Dani.
However, at that time, I also started learning the feature-rich Unity by making small games. And with editing software, I started documenting them. With much more experience on my resume, I think it's time for me to remake my dream game. Starting off, I like to show you the inspiration I had for this game. This is Pimpin the Penguin, a stuffed animal I've had for 6 years. And in case you couldn't tell, this was my best attempt at modeling Pimpin back then. With much more Blender experience, I made Pimpin RTX on. First, I remade the feet to feel more natural and then gave him this cool wool texture. So with the model looking fantastic, I guess it's time to remake the player movement. Yay, that was easy and definitely didn't take 2 days, but this feels amazing. All I did was slap on a movement controller with some animations from Mixamo, because making animations went about this well. My plan for this game was to be an open world game, where you can freely explore while having some goals. The main goal of the game will be fighting robots that have invaded Antarctica, and last time I checked, Antarctica wasn't a rectangle, so I made a piece of terrain as a placeholder for now. In my first attempt, I give Pimpin a sword as a weapon, but I want something more unique to my game. Maybe a snowball gun? I started modeling it in Blender and it definitely didn't take another 2 days. But then there's a problem. Guns are overrated, so I went with a completely original idea, throwing snowballs. As we all know, to effectively throw a snowball, you first have to aim. When entering aim mode, an over-the-shoulder camera and crosshair will activate, while rotating the player towards it. Instead of just throwing snowballs like firing a gun, I made it so you can charge up your throw, low, medium, and high-power snowballs, and charging slower as you go. The player also holds a snowball to give a visual indication of the charge level. That's not supposed to happen. If you exit aim mode before you throw, you can keep the snowball and its charge level. Definitely a feature and not a bug. I made the snowballs more interesting by giving them some particle juice. What can I do to make the game more interesting? How about Penguin Dash, Penguin Push, Penguin Blast, and even the first enemy, a sphere with 2 arms. I asked the entire Reddit community of very serious game developers to name this enemy, so their suggestions must be good. Let's get back to this later. What the enemy does is chase and fire bullets at you. Sounds really easy, right? Wrong. This process truly reminded me how difficult game dev is. Detecting and chasing the player was relatively easy, but the bullet just seemed to have a mind of its own. You see, bullet detections in games are strange. If a bullet passes through something fast enough, the game will treat it as if the collision had never happened. I found this out from watching Mythic Legion's devlog. A great solution he had was raycasting from the bullet's previous position to detect if it hit anything. This was an excellent workaround, so I just stole the solution and added them to the bullets. Definitely go check out his video after. Now this is what I call high octane gameplay. To make the enemy less generic, I added a special surprise when you get too close. It goes kaboom. The enemy also tries to get close if it falls below 50% health. So yes, basically a Minecraft creeper. Anyways, I ended up taking detonator as the enemy's name by modifying the suggestion of denominator, because the enemy explodes. To combat the enemy, the differently charged snowballs currently do these amounts of damage, meaning a fully charged snowball will be able to one-shot a detonator, resulting in a very funny interaction. Hello, bye bye. To be fair, the enemy is overpowered. The player can run through cubes, but the enemy can with no problem. Just look at... oh. Never mind, I guess. The player is definitely overpowered. That's pretty much it. In the next episode, I'd like to work on some better enemies, make the terrain prettier, and maybe work on some fun mechanics like slow-mo shooting. If you're interested, subscribe so you don't miss out. Until then, thanks for watching me make a game where penguins throw snowballs at Minecraft creepers in a checker patterned world.